Annie Hargrove is a 30-something blogger who starts off her latest post by asking readers if they remember the first time their man saw them naked. She recounts the earlier years she had with her boyfriend Jay when they were constantly having sex, in bathroom, in car, even in park, regardless of who's watching or where they were, and once they accidentally left the door open. The best part for Annie is Jay is having erections everywhere, while they watching movies, and every time he woke up, and then it reached the point where Annie got pregnant and she told her parents about that, and Jay explains how much he loves her and wants to marry her. As they had 2 kids, their time for sex just disappeared, and even as they look at each other naked today, even Annie doesn't want to think about it. She muses as to how they can get that drive back into their lives. Today, Annie and Jay have to deal with their bratty, ill-behaved son Clive and their younger daughter Nell. Even the 2 children can see that their parents are feeling bored at home. After dropping them off at school, Jay goes to work at a radio station where he talks to his friend Max about Max's girlfriend, and they're sexting to each other while also commenting on how weird it is that Jay sends Annie pictures of his penis. Their assistant comes in and brings 2 iPads for Jay, since he uses separate tablets for different tasks. Any other he has left are given away. Meanwhile, Annie goes to the Piper Brother Company where a team led by Hank Rosenbaum are looking to purchase Annie's blog, despite some of the content she puts in her posts, mentioning Jay's erections multiple times, for instance. Still, Hank is very enthusiastic about bringing Annie on board. To celebrate, Annie calls her mother Linda to take Clive and Nell to her house so that Annie and Jay can have the house to themselves. Annie surprises Jay by dressing in a see-through t-shirt and pink panties while wearing roller skates. Jay becomes excited, but when they try to get into it, they are both clumsy and cannot seem to get active for sex. They try going to the kitchen and the couch, but they are unable to feel pleasure. They decide to pop open a bottle of tequila, when Annie finds one of Jay's iPads and gets the idea to make their own porno after having a chat about watching today's porn, inspired to try something new. Jay agrees, and after a couple shots of tequila, the 2 of them set up the iPad and try out positions from the book, The Joy of Sex. After 3 hours, the tape is done, and Annie tells Jay to delete the video as they fall asleep. The next day, the couple hosts a party at their home for Clive's upcoming graduation ceremony. They invite their friends Robbie and Tess, and their other couple friends, Puneet and Kia, both of whom are not very happy with their married life and their 2 babies. After the party, Jay is outside cleaning up when he gets a text from an unlisted number that says, "Enjoyed your video. Thanks for sharing, Zoxo." Jay tells the person he's got the wrong number, but the person says he's got the right number and he has seen Jay's sex tape. He panics and runs to his Apple products to find that the sex tape synced to everything, including the iPads he gave out to his friends. Annie overhears the tape being played, forcing Jay to come clean about not deleting it. They realize they gave iPads to Robbie and Tess, Linda, Hank, and even the mailman. They begin to grab any iPad they gave away, starting with Clive's. They grab the boy's iPad out of his hands and throw it out the window. Annie calls her mother to come watch the kids and to bring her iPad. When Linda gets there, Jay takes the iPad and deletes the video from her tablet, and he and Annie run out to stop others from seeing the tape. The couple drives over to Robbie and Tess's home, as Annie suspects that the unknown text is something Tess would do as a joke. When they get to their friend's house, they see that Robbie and Tess are celebrating their 12th anniversary by watching the first season of Breaking Bad. Jay asks to see their iPad, and Robbie jokingly asks if they made a sex tape. Jay blurts out, "Did you guys watch it?" He and Annie then go inside and are forced to explain everything to Robbie and Tess. They agree to help Annie and Jay find the next iPad, which is in Hank's possession. Tess gets his address from her sister since she is Hank's florist. Before they leave, Jay asks Robbie for the iPad, and he begrudgingly and pulls the iPad out of his pants and hands it over to him. They get to Hank's fancy home, with Annie and Jay pretending to be collecting money for charity. Annie goes to talk with Hank while having Jay excuse himself to the bathroom by pretending he has food poisoning. As Jay goes through Hank's rooms, Hank's German Shepherd attacks Jay. Despite whacking it over the head with a book and causing it to run onto a moving treadmill that throws it against a wall hard, the dog continues going after Jay. Meanwhile, Hank invites Annie to do cocaine. She reluctantly agrees to it so that Hank doesn't find Jay sneaking through his place. Annie has some hits of cocaine with Hank which blows her mind. Meanwhile, Jay find a dildo in Hank's room and use it to describe the dog, which didn't work. Robbie and Tess then ring the door posing as a mayor and wife from another town that are collecting used iPads for charity. Hank gives them the one that Annie gave him, just as Jay falls out the window with the dog, and he is chased to the front door, bloodied and limping. Hank calms the dog down by saying Hakuna Matata. With that situation resolved, Annie and Jay walk back to the car, arguing about this mess. Jay admits that he decided not to delete the tape because he was happy with it and what it added to their love life, while Annie has just been frustrated with all that has been keeping them from having sex. They make up and go back to the car to find Robbie and Tess having fun on the back seat, and they accept that they viewed Annie and Jay's tape and really enjoyed it. The friends drive back to Robbie and Tess's house so Robbie can give Jay a new shirt. The couple's obnoxiously precocious son Howard comes downstairs when Jay is alone to reveal to him that he is the one that sent him the texts. Howard blackmails Jay for $25,000 in cash so that he can take the tape off from YouPorn. The boy mocks Jay for not having realized that he could have remote wiped the tape to get it out of everyone's iPads easily instead of having gone through all the trouble. When Jay gets home, he calls Robbie back to tell him about Howard's scheme, but Robbie trusts his son too much to believe what Jay has said. Jay then goes to remote wipe the tape, but then tells Annie about what Howard told him. Instead of giving in to his demands, Annie gets the address of YouPorn headquarters from their website. They grab Clive and Nell since they can't call Linda back at that time. They drive to the YouPorn building, which is closed. Jay drives the car into the door to break in. They find the control room and Jay whacks one of the servers with a bat, triggering the alarm. Before they can get out of there, the YouPorn manager comes in with his wife, 2 bodyguards, and 2 attack dogs. He mistakenly believes Annie and Jay are from rival porn sites, but then deduces that they made a sex tape and are trying to get it down, which happens to be a common occurrence. After Annie and Jay introduce themselves, the manager's wife recognizes their names from Annie's blog, which she is a fan of. After talking everything over, the manager agrees to take down the video, but Annie and Jay still have to pay for the damages. The morning comes, and the family rushes back home to get the kids ready for Clive's graduation. They get to the school and sit in the auditorium. There, Annie and Jay tell each other what they love about one another and are glad that they are still together. The ceremony commences, and Clive is up to present a video he put together from the computer. Jay panics, thinking he forgot to delete the tape from his computer. Clive plays video, which is actually his grad video, but Jay jumps off the balcony and lands on the table. Robbie and Tess help him up and take him to the hospital. The family is spending time together at home, with Jay now wearing a cast on his leg and a sling around his arm. They get a call from Howard. The doorbell rings, and Howard asks Jay to come outside. Jay thinks Howard is going to blackmail him more, but the boy pulls out a jump drive that contains the last remaining copy of the tape. He only wants Jay to let Clive hang out with him because he is the only friend Howard has. Jay agrees and takes the jump drive from Howard. Jay is preparing to smash the drive with a hammer, but Annie says they should watch it just once. They load it to their computer and watch the tape, horrified and embarrassed to see themselves acting out awkward sex positions, such as Annie doing a front flip onto Jay's penis, and various other weird acts, and then finally bury the evidence for good. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications, so you can watch videos more like this. Thanks for watching.